Okay. Hey, everyone. I'm Jesse. I'm lead engineer at Entropy, and I guess I will be moderating. So before we even start, let's just open it up. We'll start on the left side and introduce yourself, maybe tell us about your platform, and since it's a dev panel, it'd be cool, what you're built on, and any tech stuff.
Sure. So we are CrossFi. We are an L1 blockchain, but more importantly, we have built a banking solution on top of our chain, and then we're also building out a full ecosystem full of dApps. We are EVM compatible on Cosmos network, and we chose that architecture to make it very easy for migration of developers and simple to follow. I think a lot of devs are comfortable with Solidity and MetaMask, so that's what we've done. And then Cosmos, of course, to help with transaction processing speeds, interoperability, and so on.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dakota Barnett. I am the founder of a Polkadot parachain called InvArch, which focuses on DAO infrastructure, but more recent relevance is also getting ready to launch our own layer 1 chain agnostic called Centrum. And Centrum is focused on decentralized on-chain MPC infrastructure. So in more like layman's terms, powering a single account solution, so a single non-custodial account that can hold assets, transact, use any dApp, any protocol across any and every blockchain, and providing this as infrastructure so that any wallet provider, so that we're not building another wallet, any wallet provider could integrate this to become the last and only wallet that their users ever need to access all of Web3, but also adding our own, we call it the Omni VM or OVM, which will be actually a combination of several engines, EVM compatible. We're almost done, a little bit more work to go with the SVM side of things, supporting Move and PVM, which is RISC-V, WASM, all in a single engine, adding that on top, so then you can have contracts or smart accounts that can essentially do anything across any network.
Hi, everyone. We are currently helping 8 million Canadians by democratizing access to financial resources, helping them build integrity, build wealth, and of course, build credibility. My name is Godfrey Jonas. I'm the founder of Owujupe. Thank you.
Awesome. So I've been in the space for a while, not to my own horn. I'm old. But even back in 2017 when I was building, on Ethereum, we were always looking for the next thing, which I like about this panel is that we have, Tendermint EVM on the left side, we have Substrate, we have Polygon. So why don't I pass it to you guys, and I'd love you to talk about what were the challenges when deciding what platform to build on, the challenges after going to the platform, like Dakota, feel free to talk about the Polkadot drama that you're going through, and where you want to go in the future too. And I guess challenges, and especially when getting users or devs to build on you, how you find that, do you find yourself in some sort of walled garden in your own ecosystem, or are you able to maybe reach out to every ecosystem? And I'll start on the left side this time, so.
All right, thank you so much. Currently at Owujupe, we're exploring 2 platforms. We're building on Web 2 and as well on Web 3. For the Web 3, we chose, initially when we started with Ethereum during the course of our research, but due to gas fees, we decided to switch chains. And one of the major reasons why we switched to Polygon was because we could access test tokens on Polygon more than the Sepolia testnet. We couldn't do that on Ethereum, and that was one of the major reasons we're testing on Polygon. But so far, so good. It's been great, and we're building on Solidity. As, of course, students from George Brown College, most of the students are part of our team, and then most of them are familiar with Solidity. So we're currently building using Solidity on Polygon.
Sweet. So a couple follow-ups for that. Yeah. Fascinating, because a lot of the Ethereum testnets are more community-driven, so it's fascinating that actually drove you to Polygon. Moving away from the gas stuff, did you ever experience, I know specifically Polygon has huge reshare issues, reorgs. Have you ever noticed that on your chain, and does that ever clash with some of your customers and your, your buildings?
Well, so far we've not deployed for usage on a global scale, right? Currently, we're still testing on Polygon, and probably we may come across that. And when we do, I'll reach out to you.
And last follow-up, just a quick thing. If I heard correctly, by the way, I was also a professor at the George Brown, so I'd love to see people doing great from that. But did them pushing you into Polygon actually have like an effect on you? Or did they drive you a little bit, is what I'm saying? Like, is that a way that, chains can get devs to build on them?
Okay, you mean from the college?
Yeah, from the college. Did they drive you a bit on that?
Well, during the course of my studies, we're exposed to quite a number of blockchains, network. Polygon was actually part of it. We had Polkadot, we had Cardano. Initially, we were considering Cardano, but most of our, due to the skill gap, we couldn't focus on Cardano. We needed to upgrade to use Cardano, but we were comfortable with building on our smart contracts on Solidity, and that's why we focused on an EVM-compatible blockchain.
Sweet, and I'm sure the whole crypto industry thanks you for not building on Cardano. Shit, sorry, I hope this is not recorded. Dakota.
That's a good burn.
Thank you.
So I'll take it back to it's like 3 years ago, deciding to build on Polkadot itself versus dealing with Substrate. So that initial reason was the original promises of Polkadot, this vision of just being able to have everything connected. So to me, it was the interoperability more than anything. I mean, scalability and all this, yes, but it was just the seamless interoperability which really attracted me. Fast forward to today, not really the promise wasn't but the thing is, when getting into that, the tech stack that we end up using is the Substrate SDK. Now rebranded the Polkadot SDK, with Substrate being half of it. But when getting into Substrate, we fell in love with it. I mean, we of course compared things like Cosmos and Ethereum. Ethereum is 3 years ago. I think everyone remembers 2020, 2019. Going into 2021, everyone was like, "Oh no, Ethereum, the gas, it won't scale. The ETH 2.0 will never come." So that wasn't really an option at that point in time, and ETH proved the world wrong. But so didn't consider that, and we were interested in Cosmos and Tendermint, but we just really appreciated what we saw within Substrate, its design as very future forward, very future thinking, and so with us, it's just the customizations, everything that we can do with it, it's really freaking powerful. And it can be, I'd argue, for many, especially newcomers, complex, a little bit daunting. But if you stick with it and you get the hang of it, you master it, it's incredible what you can build, what you can redefine from the ground up with your chain. But there's been some drama in the ecosystem and stuff, and giving it our all and all that. And I'm still optimistic on the ecosystem's long term. But to be frank, the short to midterm, there's just too much headwind that I don't recommend that any founder put themselves through, because the point is you don't need to, which is why we are launching our own layer 1, which I mentioned earlier is a Centrum, doing our own thing there, the chain agnostic approach. We don't need to be concerned about any baggage weighing us down, just how much value we can drive to all other networks.
Well, I was going to ask to follow up on, for developers, I guess, on that side, getting a Polkadot slot and maintaining that, but I guess...
That was hell. That was
Feel free, yeah.
So we had, the thing is, so our project, InvArch, is quite popular within the Polkadot ecosystem, especially among those who are in the community, active in the community now, are very well known. And that was always been our focus. Our focus was that we'll achieve success through the support of our community. And so we launched a crowd loan, and we maxed out our crowd loan. It's a whole month of just campaigning. It's a lot of energy, additional energy on top of whatever you're dealing with being a founder. A lot of stress. And we maxed out our crowd loan. I was so ecstatic. But the way it's designed is, if you have a crowd loan and it's maxed, that's it. You can't put anything more in it. You know what I mean? But we were good. And then 1 minute into the auction starting, Akala came in with a self out their own pocket, outbid us, which means there's nothing we can do about it. We will now need to return all of this dot and restart the whole process. And I hated it. It was built character though.
That's brutal. Honestly, for building, Polkadot slots sound like a pain in the ass. One last quick follow-up. when I was advising and building substrate teams, one of the things that I found is a lot of people thought they could do it with a smaller engineering team and no DevOps team. What has the DevOps challenges been, I guess, in building your own chain against a lot of engineers just building a smart contract?
Well, so us getting into building our own chain is actually very new. We just finalized the decision about 2 weeks ago, and we haven't even announced it to our community. You all know about it at first. And so, like, with that, there's still, like, some things that we're getting together. But I will say, like, working in the Polkadot ecosystem, well, to answer your question, if you're launching a smart contract, there's a lot less overhead that you got to deal with. I would actually argue if you don't need to build a chain, don't build a chain. Don't build a chain. Like, if anything, launch a contract. So much less overhead. You can go and get started so much faster, start getting users so much faster, scale up, show that you need to scale, and then if you need to scale, then look into migrating and then launching your own chain. That's the path I would recommend. Because then when it comes to that, you have to remember the fact that you're building an ecosystem, not just a single product, usually, and with that, you need to think about cultivating, you need developers. That's the blood of your ecosystem. The more devs you have, the more crazy stuff they build, the more chance that at least one of those things takes off, and you know what I mean? And that's really what you need, but if you can't attract people, it's a bit tough. The Polkadot ecosystem, I will say, has an immense amount of resources, a multi-billion-dollar ecosystem, multi-million, $100 million, something like that, treasury, or I don't know where it's at now. But a lot of resources for devs, but like I said, it's just like,
Yeah, no, totally fair. Sorry, I love talking about substrates, so if I don't cut it off now, we'll just kill the whole rest of the panel. Good luck whipping validators, which is going to suck.
Oh yeah, big fun, big fun.
Have fun. Haley, same question to you.
Sure.
Do you want me to repeat it? Has it been too long, or are you good?
No, I
You're
think
good?
I got
Okay,
it.
perfect.
Yeah, so I'm fairly new actually to our project. So I don't know all the struggles that they went through in selecting the specific architecture, but I do know that I'm coming in at a more fun point in time because not having to go through all those hurdles. But I'm assuming being kind of a project that has to do with, merging DeFi and TradFi, the attraction to Cosmos was, of course, transaction processing speed, because we have that physical card that we want people to use when they're using it online, whether or at an ATM or a POS terminal. They want to be able to do that quickly. So that was kind of the limitation with Ethereum, of course, but then we still wanted the ease for our developers to build new DeFi products as well on of course, an EVM compatible chain. So I think the biggest part was that we were promised kind of like right now we have a 5-second transaction processing speed, and we're trying to get it down to 1 second, which was possible.
Good luck on reorgs. I'm sure it is. But no, so you are DevRel, and huge love to the DevRel community. Sorry, our DevRel guy is sitting right there, so if I didn't say that, he'd... but do you find, and question, have you done DevRel at a different company in a different ecosystem, and how do you find coming into the Tendermint ecosystem? And although you are EVM and fully EVM compatible, do you find that there's still friction when you have, let's say, you're talking to like a Polygon engineer or like an Ethereum engineer, you're like, yeah, we're EVM, but they're like, but you're not my EVM. Do you find that?
So prior to this, I worked at like a big data solutions company, which is now branded as a DPIN, and we were 6 employees when I started. Now there's over 100. So I was not just DevRel, but a lot of things. And at that point, I was like the only non-engineer, so I was kind of any kind of liaison with marketing, operations, etc. So it's a very different role than being just strictly DevRel. So this is pretty new to me. I would say that we have a really great developer ecosystem, and then it's just awesome what we can do. We actually have the bandwidth to be able to provide great incentives for them, and I think that money talks, and they're able to figure it out. So it makes my life very easy. I have a great job because I don't have to worry too much about it, and I think the EVM compatible makes it easy enough. I also bring in a lot of partners. We do tons of AMAs, workshops. I'm a big fan of open source, so bringing in as many developer tools as we can, cross-chain bridges, oracles, to kind of help everybody have those tool sets in action whenever they need them. We have a 24/7 kind of chat going on with technical support, so in our Telegram. So we built out like a testnet of over 600,000 developers, and we are always there answering their questions. Like today, our faucet was broken, and there we are within minutes to figure it out. So I think that we're able to combat that, and one of the big things that we do is we have these, of course, incentives. We have the bug bounty program, we have a grant program, we have our hackathon, which I announced earlier. So we have a lot of things that make it exciting for people to be a part of, and then our community is really fun. We're also starting to build tons of dApps on our ecosystem, so those like tap games and stuff are really addictive, and we lure them in from that. And I think, that gamification.
Yeah, no, you gotta fix that faucet because apparently that will affect developers.
I know. Well, it's back up now, but
No, perfect. Yeah. Okay, cool. So 5 minutes left. I probably have time for one question. If I have extra time at the end, I'll let the Polkadot and Cosmos people talk about the drama in there. We'll get the tea going. But
okay. Sure.
We have a lot more in common, probably.
So Dakota, to you. How do you see the crypto space in the next 5 years? Maybe even bridging, if you want to talk about bridging too. Yeah, go nuts.
Well, so with the next 5 years, what really excites me is to think about just how dramatically UX will change. I think in 5 years, I think that you will see, on the note of bridges, I think you're going to see bridges pumping more volume than you've ever seen before, but you're going to have no idea you're not going to know about them. No one's going to know about them. Bridges aren't going to be brand names in like the greater scheme of things. They shouldn't be. No one should know what they are. No one should know that they're there. With wallets, there's always going to be preference, but I actually think that the majority of wallets, you're not going to have an extension or even a wallet app. It's going to be mobile first. You're going to have an omni-chain account, a single account solution embedded directly into the browser, and through that, you just open your browser. It's going to be just like making a Chrome account for the first time, and then it's there, and you can just go and use the internet. Those are things I'm looking forward to. I see like bridges. I see all of that getting like bridges. Essentially having like all their different routes, like bringing everything, aggregating it, and then automating it, and again, abstracting it away from the user. So if I have 50 ETH or 50 USDC on Ethereum and I want to do something on Osmosis in the Cosmos ecosystem, then in a single click from the second that transaction is approved, the action will actually start on the other chain. And there's a bunch of stuff that happens in the background to make that possible, but the user, again, has no idea, and they're just using the internet. They have no idea that what the hell, like Web3, I'm on the web.
Dude, I think you're dangerously close to dropping the intense word.
Yeah.
I would follow up, but I should finish off the panel with some other questions too. Godfrey, how do you see the next 5 years, especially if you want to focus on Africa and how you see you fitting in the future of crypto in Africa?
Yeah, basically in Africa, a lot has been going on. In South Sudan recently, they built up technology around the blockchain space where they manage the identities of internally displaced people. So that way they're able to use blockchain to ensure that societal menace like rape, they're able to track it and they're able to unite families together. So for me, one of the things that brought me to the space was finance, crypto. But in the next 5 years, I'm beginning to see a shift from finance, from crypto, to other aspects, of the economy. So that's what identity management will play a key role. The likes of self-sovereign identity is already happening, and I believe in the areas of identity management, a whole lot will happen in that space. Thank you.
Really cool. And if you want to talk about the future of crypto too, and how you see maybe your company fitting into it, that'd be great.
Sure, yeah. So currently, I think we've realized with CrossFi that we're mostly a B2C kind of solution, and our product, which is like the physical Visa cards that we're testing, mainly affect the unbanked population, and those are the people that are just crazing about it. And I think it's interesting for us to realize that there's, for example, we launched this in Vietnam and Southeast Asia, and for them, this is somewhere where you might not expect them to be so heavy into crypto, but they've found that, they can figure out how to get Wi-Fi and go on there and find this means to, stake and invest in a currency, and they don't have access to traditional banking the same way that, in the United States or Canada, women couldn't have a credit card until, the 50s, which is crazy to think about because we use them all the time now. So for someone that's in, this first world country, we don't realize the utility of something like this, of being able to get cash for crypto or be able to use a crypto card. And of course, some exists like crypto.com, Binance, but it might not just be the market for it, not because there isn't a market for it, but because we can just go to the bank down the street. So I think that when people start to see this ease of use and being able to, combine the two, that there's going to be a huge intersection of traditional finance and crypto, and now you can do it, and we're seeing more of these cards pop up, and we're doing something unique of being able to do it in a non-custodial way, where now you always have power over your own funds, which is great. I think everybody should have access to their own money. They don't have to go through middlemen. So I think that, just because it's not popular in some of these more first world countries, not because there's not a use case for it, just because we don't have the struggle of having to figure out where to get money. And I think once we realize what it means to take back that control, and we realize, we might be, brainwashed, then we'll want to see that happen.
Cool, awesome. That's pretty much all our time. Thank you so much. Does anybody have any closing things to say? Nope. Okay, cool. 10 seconds. I'm just gonna vamp here. I can work on my type 5 seconds. I'm sure I have a few jokes.
Choices.
Thank you. All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.